5.3 FM HD4 on Nooga Radio. And Randy Wharton's here with me.
Greetings.
And he's got a great guest.
Yeah, so Signal Mountain High School is kind of a unique place. And my wife actually was a semi sort of assistant cross-country coach out there. And we've had a strong relationship. Wild Trails has had a strong relationship with the school because we put on we had at one point we had 2, maybe 3 trail races that we put on up there. It's a unique location because the high school is completely surrounded by nature, really. And so there's a ton of trails and stuff. And so they developed a really solid cross-country program from the very beginning. And so I've got Garrison Wheeler here, who's senior this year, and just a great, I mean, he's been through, the whole program and seen a lot going on because it's still a fairly young school. But let Garrison tell you a little bit about the kind of the accolades that the high school cross country and track team have had, but super, super strong runners up there. And we want to talk a little bit, later on about why that is. So Garrison, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So we definitely like to think we're a pretty decent team. Our girls team has been super successful in the past 5 or 6 years, winning multiple state championships, both in cross country and track. They took a break last year and got 2nd place, but they're back at it again this year with another state championship in cross country. And I'm sure they can do it again for track. And, the guys have, we had a rocky start, but we had a 3rd place finish this year. So we're definitely on the upper end, and our indoor season is going really well so far. And we're looking forward to an outdoor track season where we can hopefully grab that win.
So tell me what all does track include?
Oh, gosh. So, there's the sprinting aspect, there's the field aspect, and then there's the distance side of things. So with the sprinters, that's anything from the 100 up to the 400. Some people would argue the 400 is more of a mid-distance kind of deal. And then the distance side in high school, that's the 1600 and 3200. So basically the mile and the 2 mile, as well as the 800. If you're looking for
800 is considered distance.
Yep, the most painful 2 minutes of your life.
Yep.
2 minutes if you're doing it right. And it doesn't get any longer than 3200 in high school. And then the field, that includes long jump, pole vault, high jump, shot put and discus, all that good stuff.
So where are your strengths?
Hopefully their strengths. The distance side of things, since I'm a cross country runner, that carries over onto the track. So the 3200 is kind of my specialty, I guess you could say, the 2 miles. But we definitely like to throw in the 1600 as well. So
if your coach, you blow it the race before, and for punishment, you have to do the 800. Is that what he does?
Some days, I guess that's the case.
So that's a cool story that the distance runners forget the short stuff because it hurts more than running 2 or 3 miles.
Yeah,
and I totally agree with that.
The 800 is
what's a whole different animal, right? It's just
it's a sprint.
You're moving a lot faster,
and it hurts.
I'd be doing real good to do either
so
one. That's why I like walking.
Yeah, you have a perspective, I think, that's a little bit unique, in that you are a cross-country runner that is running for a high school that the coach sort of amplifies trails as a training medium. Most cross-country coaches, they don't believe that running on trails is a good thing because it's dangerous. You're going to twist your ankle. There's all this undulation, there's rocks and roots and stuff, so it's going to lead to injuries. That's what most coaches think, and certainly there's a lot to that. I mean, you are going to get twisted ankles, but it makes a stronger ankle. But what you're doing, I think, makes a stronger runner. So tell me about, any experiences you've had with other coaches or other runners from other high schools that their coach won't let them run on trails. And I've heard a bunch of stories, all around. But what is your experience with that?
So we are super blessed to be in the area that we are. The Signal Mountain High School is nestled, you could say, within Prentice Cooper State Forest.
Ooh, nice.
So we have a lot of local trails that we get the benefit of training on. And as you were saying, Randy, there are a handful of teams and runners that feel as if trails, at least trails as we know them, up on the mountain, being as technical as they are, aren't very beneficial. You can't run as fast on them. You know, like you said, there is that problem with immediate injury and whatnot, tripping, rolling an ankle. But like you said, it does make for a stronger runner. If you go out and run on the road every single day, you're going to work the exact same muscles. With the trail, there's a lot of variation. So you're working all sorts of different muscles because you're going over all sorts of different terrains and whatnot.
Y'all got me thinking, because I say I'm not a runner, but
yet
I
say yet.
I'm not a runner yet. Hang around with Randy Wharton here. I'm sure I'll be a runner soon. But when I'm on the trails, which I prefer for walking, I do run some. And there's something to me about it. The word's not easier, but there's something about running on the trails where it just comes naturally. I don't know. It's just not the effort that it is on a flat ground. And I enjoy the extra challenge of it, as far as having to watch the placement of my feet. Just the same challenge I love with mountain biking. I love that I have to be watching ahead and figure things out before I get there. It's probably part of what I love about.
I mean, think about road cycling versus mountain biking. It's a totally different sport. And it's the same thing with running. It builds a different athlete. It's a different sport. Well,
it just dawned on me too, when I was very active hang gliding, I was a cross country pilot, which back then only about 5% of all pilots, I believe, maybe less than that, were cross country. But it's that same thing. I enjoyed the challenge of having to constantly watch the terrain and be figuring things out as you went. So that might just be my ADHD, like just needing something else to focus on while I'm running. But I prefer it. And I see, it just seems like there's more benefit to it. And it's easier as a non-runner. It's easier for me to run on trails.
Yeah. So Garrison, just quickly, what's next for you?
So we have our state indoor race coming up with our club team, the Signal Mountain Mountain Lion Water Snakes.
Wait, whoa. What?
That's what I was going to say.
So
Signal Mountain.
With Tennessee's indoor policy, we can't race as Signal Mountain, the school. So we race as the Signal Mountain Mountain Lion Water Snakes.
Okay.
Very proud to wear that name across our chest. But we have
across your whole chest.
Oh, there's a lot there.
We have that race coming up. It's our state indoor meet. We have that race coming up in 2 weeks from now, and we're really hopeful to win the DMR, the distance medley relay. And that's a 1,200, an 800, a 400, and a 1,600.
Oh.
So it gets pretty much every aspect of it all into one. But we're ranked second in the state right now, so we're really hoping to be able to pull through with a win.
Second in the state?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, that's awesome.
Very cool.
Well, we're going to want you to come back and report on that. And I want to take a little break here because would-be sponsors that are tuning in and listening, wouldn't this be a great platform? Don't you love to be able to spotlight these high school kids that I love, that they're getting acclimated to the outdoors and getting that in their foundation early too, because I feel super blessed that was in my foundation. So I have this need. I think we all have an innate desire to get outside, but when it's in your foundation, you're more likely to have that desire as you get older and stay involved outside. And oxygen is food, your vitamin D, all the health benefits of being outside. So a would-be sponsor, you could be contributing to a platform where we can spotlight kids like Garrison and the great activities that they're involved in and their accomplishments here on Nooga Outdoors on Nooga Radio. And with that said, so tell me again, what is this event that's coming up in 2 weeks again?
It's our state indoor race. So it's held at Vanderbilt's indoor track facility, and it's a full meet for everybody who's qualified for the state meet.
So what happens at an indoor race? What is included?
So there's a little bit more diversity, I guess you could say, amongst events in indoor meets, in that the track's a little smaller, so there's room to do extra events. So, you know, instead of the 100-meter, well, there is a 100-meter race, but there's also a 60-meter race.
But you don't have outdoors, right?
Not normally. Yeah. Not in Tennessee, we don't. Some states offer it, but in Tennessee, that's not available. And the DMR is not something that we race in outdoors either.
And that's fairly new, right?
To us, it is, absolutely. I had never done it before 2 years ago. And
I don't know.
It was an indoor race.
Yeah, I'd never heard it before about 2 years ago. So
it's definitely something that's on the rise, especially amongst our teammates. We always enjoy doing it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, are you and any of your teammates or schoolmates, are y'all involved with any of the Wild Trails events?
Yeah, absolutely. I have the pleasure every December and I believe August of racing 2 of the Wild Trail Series races, just because I get a little bit of off time from cross country and track. So in December, it's the Lookout Mountain 10K, which is part of the 50-mile.
By which you were first place how many times?
2 years in a row now. So
I'm not just in the kids division. He beats everybody.
Oh my goodness.
And then we also had a race we used to put on, don't do it now, really like to bring it back, called the City Trail Race. So it's basically it starts and finishes downtown. It's all downtown, but we get off road as much as we can. And Garrison won that race at least
How do you
once.
do that downtown?
Pick all the parks. We go through all the baseball stadiums.
Okay.
We go, just alleyways, upstairs. It's a really fun. Railroad tracks.
You got to bring that back. That
it's
sounds awesome.
it's a great event.
You'll have parking, because that's the problem with some of the Wild Trails events.
That's the biggest.
Parking is a challenge.
Yeah, biggest challenge really with trail races is the limited parking at the trailheads.
And we actually, on my Cindy Story show earlier this morning, I had River City Company talking about the new parking survey for downtown. So keep that on your radar. They're getting real creative down there to come up with event parking.
Yeah.
So that would be a really good one to come back.
So Garrison, you're done with school this year and heading to one of a bunch of schools probably that want you to run for them, right?
There are several. Barry and UTC are 2 schools that I'm definitely looking at. I'm speaking to coaches there, and I'm really excited to come up with a decision relatively soon. I haven't made that final decision yet, but it's likely to be one or the other.
Yep.
Awesome. Are you excited about that?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to kind of open up a new chapter. I've loved high school, middle school, and everything, and running for Signal Mountain, but I am definitely looking forward to doing something new and running for a new team.
And when you have conversations with college coaches, are they talking cross country and track always, or is it one or the other?
So 9 times out of 10, if you are being recruited for cross country, you're likely to at least, once or twice race on the distance side of the track team. Now, it doesn't always go hand in hand, but 9 times out of 10 it does.
As a runner, though, you'd want to, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unlike, I guess that's not necessarily true, but unlike a lot of sports, I think running, you have to stay fit year round to be a solid runner. Where a lot of other sports are more skill related, you don't necessarily have to train year round, but don't you think it's safe to say you have to run year round to, certainly at the college level, you have to be solid, committed 12 months a year.
Yeah. And honestly, it's all we know to do. We'll take 2 weeks off in between cross country and track, and then we'll go right back into training.
So when you say we, the team, as the team?
Yes, sir.
So you train off season together as a group as well?
Most of the time we do. It's a little difficult sometimes, just because some people will pick up other things during the off season, but most of us do continue to train together all the way through the off season and then right into normal track season.
Yep.
And also through the summer as well.
So when you pick a school, you're going to probably jump in with that team as soon as you can, because they're training year round, right? So once you pick UTC, would you kind of start meeting those guys right away and start running with them, next week?
Well,
or whenever.
Right. It couldn't be next week, but
The week after you choose or whatever. I mean, I would think you'd want to start running with your teammates right away.
From the college aspect, you're allowed to start running with that team a couple weeks before, fall of 2018, for my circumstance. So in that summer, you're allowed to start training with them. It's really up to the team's discretion as to when they start organizing practices. The NCAA only, gives them a certain date, and then the coach just has to comply within that date.
So I haven't really followed it closely this year, but how's UTC's cross country and track team?
Yeah, they seem to be having a great year thus far. I'm not totally sure if that's where I'll end up, but I feel like it would definitely be a great home for the next 4 years. They seem to have a great group of guys down there. And, if that was where I ended up, I would be very excited and happy with it.
I'll see what I can find out for you. I've coordinated to get Mark Wharton on my Cindy's Toy show, and then possibly we can get him to come on this show one night, Randy. He's the UTC sports director or athletic director now.
Yeah. Okay.
Newly appointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's Wharton, Warton.
Yeah. There's 20 different ways to spell the same thing that sounds exactly the same.
I know. Cause I misspelled the same the first time. I spelled it like yours. No, they've got, I've gotten to meet some of the athletes over there recently, and pretty impressive, I must say. I hope if that helps you out any all, Garrison.
That's actually a really interesting story with UTC cross country. I don't know if Bill Gautier's track as well. Is he track coach as well?
So Coach Gautier is now retired from UTC.
Oh, I know that.
And he helps out with Baylor's team. So I see him all the time at, indoor races right now and just in town and whatnot. But yeah, he's since retired from UTC, and it's now Coach Meyer, who is sailing the ship.
So Jan Gautier, who's been the Baylor cross country coach forever, and Bill Gautier was a UTC cross country and I think track coach forever. And those, between the two of those, they have, just a huge history around Chattanooga. It's not only solid runners. Jan has won, I don't know, at least 6 or 8 of our races over the years. I mean, she's just super solid runner, and she's not really a trail. I mean, she says, I don't know if I really like trails that much. And she comes out and wins almost everything she jumps into. So really great couple story, I guess. So yeah, good stuff. I think there's a lot to be said about, about Signal Mountain. I mean, it's a great school. They certainly have probably the prettiest campus of a high school anywhere, out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's just an awesome place with, I don't know how many miles of trails. I mean, it could be forever because you can go all the way to Prentice Cooper.
Yeah.
And we're about to connect the Cumberland Trail to Signal Mountain High School.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
That'll go forever.
Well, I'm glad you
to be.
Connected us with Signal Mountain High and Garrison, because we'll keep in touch. Again, we'd like to have you come back. We'd like to get a report on how this upcoming race goes, and maybe get introduced to
what's the date
some of the other team.
Oh, it's 2 weeks from now on that Sunday. So whenever that is.
Would it be live at all? Is there any kind of streaming thing going on?
Yes, there is actually.
Oh, there you go.
You might have to pay for it, but it is available to watch on tnmilesplit.com. So if you want to throw in, I think like $8 for that month of subscription, go ahead and root for the Signal Mountain mountain lion water snakes.
So I don't understand the water part.
Golly, that's a
Thanks,
story.
Randy. I was
It's
like,
a big story.
I didn't want to ask.
We don't have enough time.
Question.
Oh, we got 1 minute left. Sorry, it's a 5-minute story.
Well, one of a previous teammate had been joking around, threw out the name somewhere, and we kind of coined it from there and went with it.
It works. Like I said, it definitely fills a t-shirt.
Well,
Yeah,
no doubt.
absolutely.
And people will remember you. We're down to 30 seconds. Randy, why don't you close us out with tell people how to get a hold of Wild Trails.
So wildtrails.org is the best way to do it. We put on a bunch of races. We're doing 14 races this year, 12 trail races, and the other 2 are water, kind of water parts. And so, yeah, it's a great thing. We've got a lot of stuff going on trails, trail building, trail maintenance, clearing creeks, youth development, and all kinds of stuff. So come see us.
And as always, I'm at Cindy at cindyschoice.com. Cindy at cindyschoice.com. If you're interested in participating in this platform or sponsoring this platform, please email me, Cindy at cindyschoice.com. Thank you so much. Thank you, Garrison. Thank you, Randy, always. And that's a wrap.
Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio. Digital